Alright, welcome to part 2 of the yard sale leaf blower I bought. I got the carburetor all taken apart in my fancy parts washer here. So I'll let that soak for about 20 minutes, put it all back together, or I gotta blow the little holes out with an air compressor. We'll throw it back on, finish up putting the fuel lines on, and see if it'll start. Alright, I'm still a long ways from starting it, but I figured I would just say, depending on how long your thing you're fixing has been sitting, like this one has clearly been sitting for a long time, it's always a good idea to put a little bit of 2-cycle oil or engine oil down through the intake, or maybe just a couple dribbles in the spark plug hole, just so the cylinder is not completely dry when you go to start it or anything like that. But if it's only been sitting for a few months, not really necessary. Just figured I would say that. Got all the components of the carb sitting here. I'm getting ready to put it back together. I blew out the holes. Everything came pretty clean for the most part. It should, as long as there's no issues with the motor or anything like that, it should run. I'm going to go ahead and start putting this back on and get the fuel line all figured out. So we are getting near starting. Alright, so I got the carb all back together and somewhat on, you could say. I still need to figure out which. There's two. I think this is the main one, and I think that one back there is the return. Not 100% sure, but I'm gonna find out. I'm just gonna put it back together partially with the fuel lines the way I think it goes, and then see if it'll start. And if it does, then I'll put it all back together and see if we can get it to run good. Alright, so I got this little piece of line here. I'm going to run from the primer bulb to the larger black end, and then I'm going to run the little end of the carburetor back into the tank. And if that does not make it run at least a little bit, then we know something's wrong, and I will swap everything around and see if that will fix the issue. Alright, I got the lines connected to the bulb and going to the carburetor. That was a complete pain in the frickin' you-know-what. Can't lie. I'm going to put the cable back on again. Put the bolts in, put some fuel in it, and then see if we can get if we get fuel squirting out of this hole back here, then we know we did something right, and then it should run. Alright, the intake and all the choke components are back on. It's looking like throw some fuel in it and try it. At this point, I do not have the return line on, and like I said, I got this thing with no fuel lines at all. It was kind of just, there they are right there. So I kind of just guessed where everything went. It should be correct the way I got it. If it's not, then I'm going to have to do it again. But hopefully for now, the next clip will be it running. If not, it'll be me putting the lines back on or something stupid. But I'm just going to, for now, I'm just going to put the cover on and a couple bolts loosely so I don't lose the throttle trigger here. And then I can operate the kill switch without anything happening to it. Alright, I ended up just throwing a return line on there anyways. I ended up just drilling another hole in the tank, which is kind of stupid because now it's going to leak out of that one, which I'm going to just wipe my finger with some silicone over it and hope for the best. But for now, I'm just going to throw fuel in it and see if it runs with the leak. Alright, it's all back together, all tight. Everything is how it should be. I believe I have the lines connected correctly. I got a car show to get to, so if it does not start today, I will continue working on it tomorrow. But let's go ahead and give it a start up and see what we can make happen here. Alright, I just threw some fuel in it and it is priming, so I believe I do have the lines connected correctly. It did develop a tiny little leak, which is not that big of a deal because it's only a quarter way up the tank. But as you can see, it is getting pressure and there is fuel in the bulb. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to start it, and hopefully it will run. I honestly don't know if it will. Did everything I could say I did right, but let's go ahead and give it a shot here. Choke is on. Alright, let's go. Let's try a little bit of a... Well, there you go. This was part 2 of fixing the $5 yard sale blower. The carburetor does still need a tiny bit of tuning. You can tell it's a little bit lean when you take the choke off. But using it on half choke, not a big, wouldn't bother me. So all I did was clean the carb on it. New primer bulb, new fuel lines, kind of just guessing where they went. Took me about an hour. And I paid $5 for a blower, probably worth $40 now. So was it worth it? Yes. Do I recommend buying a cheap blower like this? Absolutely not. If you're going to buy any type of yard equipment of any kind, I suggest going with an Echo or Stihl or something that is more than $25 brand new, or $100. But either way, all you really need to do something like this, even on a blower that's been sitting for as long as this one. I didn't really do this as proper as I should have. Kind of rigged it up, but it works. So got myself a blower for $5. Thanks for watching.